Hello, everybody. Man, I tell you what, every time I record in this old studio, I'm bummed I'm still here. Went by there today. Our names are on the door. Yeah, it's a little piece of vinyl, but it means a lot to me. It's awesome. So the names are on the door. The cubicles are getting built. The podcast studio is technically done. The kitchen benches and all the tables and chairs are getting installed today and tomorrow. So we're so close. Passed fire inspection yesterday, passed county outside inspection today, and we got county final on Tuesday, and then we get to move in next week. So super close on that one. Super excited about that one. I will tell you probably next week or the week after, I will have a podcast on my journey through buying a building, all the things that went with it. If you ever plan on buying a building in the future, please tune in for that podcast because, man, the learning curve is steep. And if I can flatten out that learning curve for you, I definitely will. But today I have the lovely Genie with me today, and you and me are going to be talking about sales today. And how it fell into our lap was Nadia, our new VP of operations, asked for an SOP, standard operating procedures on how the sales are and what's the culture of integrated science. She goes, can you and Aaron put something together for me so we have a path? And we said, well, why don't we film it in a podcast and make our life a little bit easier?
Yeah, she's pretty big on taking recordings. She was going to use all your tutorials from Square Coil and jot those down and create a sales plan and a manual, if you will, on sales. And we can hand it out to our different salespeople and make sure that we're all on the same page. So she's going to take today's podcast and she's going to translate that to a manual.
So before we talk about that, we had an amazing sales meeting yesterday.
We did.
And to hide identities and make everybody feel better about themselves, we'll change the names of who we were talking to.
Okay.
But not the companies.
Right.
Okay. So we'll change the names. So you got a call last week from a law firm.
Mm-hmm.
And the law firm wanted, and it's a big law firm.
They're growing.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be their second location.
But they bought the high rise.
Yes.
10-story
high rise.
It's a legit building. It's a big building.
Yeah.
3-story underground parking structure. Like it was a pretty penny.
Mm-hmm.
And they bought this building. And they want to brand the holy heck out of it. They want high rise signage, and it's right off the 405 in LA, right next to LAX. They're
going to wrap the building.
Yes. They're going to put a digital print wrap on it. They're going to do high rise signage, lobby signage, interiors, elevator signage. Like it's probably going to be close to $1 million project when it's all said and done.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I said, okay, we need to drive up there. And then yesterday, I got the picture and said, that thing's got a helipad on there. Let's take the helicopter up there. Now, for all you listeners, no, I don't own a helicopter, but my good buddy does. And he's right here in Gillespie Field, which is all of 5 minutes from our shop. I said, hey, instead of a 3.5 hour drive, take the helicopter up there. And he goes, all I need is permission. We're good. So we got permission from the owner. We're all set. And the building engineer, being what we thought was a smart individual, said, hey, by the way, you need a permit to land on these buildings. Only fire and police have it. So we got screwed out of the helicopter. But then Matt, our pilot friend, said Santa Monica Airport is less than a mile from that building. I can fly you up there.
Yep.
So we ended up taking the Piper Comanche up there. It took us 50 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you land, bless their hearts, what's the
crew car?
Yeah, Atlantic Aviation, he's a club member of, pulls right up to their building. We walk right out. They hand us a crew car, and we got 2 hours free and drove right over the building, did the survey. And within an hour and a half, we were already back in the plane going home.
Yep. We left here at 11:45 a.m. and we were back in San Diego by 4:30.
Yeah. And that was including lunch and hanging out.
And a survey, yes.
So, but that survey was amazing because not only did we have, so let's backtrack. How does this client even know who we are?
So a couple years ago, and this kind of really hilarious because this is how life works. I don't think in just sales or in signage, but in every other aspect of life. It's all in who you know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have our lovely friend, Kathy.
Mm-hmm.
She's done a lot of bank change outs. We've done a lot with her, and they moved into a new building in Beverly Hills. And they got high-rise signage rights in Beverly Hills a couple years ago. And then this law firm, I think, got our contact information from Kathy or the landlord, one of the two, and reached out to us and said, I want to put my name on the building too. At the time, I did not know that only one name could go on the top of a building. in Beverly Hills or really anywhere in Southern California. And it is literally the building identification sign. That's what the building is going to be named. So they only allow one. The landlord messed up and gave two tenants the right to the top because there was two sides of the building. The city said no, and the tenant picked the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Then the landlord, to fix the situation, paid for the law firm signage to go on a lower level area. They didn't have their own sign company, and the landlord didn't, even in Beverly Hills. So she reached out to me and she said, can you help me with, the law firm signage in the other areas? So I did all that. I fought the good fight with the city, got this tenant who I never even had talked to. It was literally done through the landlord. I think I had an email from him a couple times in the very beginning. And that was about 2 years ago. And I just thought it was a one-off. I actually thought he would be mad that he didn't get the building top right. And somehow that was my fault. But he reached out to me about a week ago and he said, hey, I bought a new building and I need signage for it. I said, okay, great. Send me the address and I'll get started doing my research and whatever. He sent me the address and it's this massive 10-story high rise in Santa Monica. Has existing signage on it now. And he said, I want to plaster my name everywhere. I said, great.
So we went up there, met with Mrs. B,
Mm-hmm.
and she met with she brought the property manager and the building manager with us. So
Yep.
apparently they are going to sublease out, even though they own the building, they're going to allow other tenants to stay in the building for right now. Smart, genius. And she brought us up to the roof, brought us all the way through there. In dealing with that, Mrs. B introduced us to Mrs. L.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who's Mrs. L?
Mrs. L is the senior director for PMC.
Yep, which we didn't know what that stood for.
No. And it says PMC on the side of the building,
Yep.
which is the letters will be taken down. And we were in the elevator. She was in there and just said, hi, I'm Jeannie with Integrated Science. And she goes, oh, you're the sign vendor. I said, yep. So we're outside. We're talking about the signage and, the new ones we're going to do. And she looks down. She goes, you see that big, tall, black building across the street over there, which is like a 25-story building? She goes, we just bought that. Can you give me a quote to put our new signs on that building? Well, I would love to. Absolutely. So she's sending me, the information on that building and artwork and whatever. And I'm going to do a design package for her.
So all you had to do was say hello in an elevator.
Yes.
And she's like, by the way, you're a sign vendor? Hello?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So you had that one. And then also this morning you had another client,
Mm-hmm.
and they are a developer here in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
And you've only worked with her once before, a couple months ago.
On a current project.
Current project. So she did purchase it and are moving forward with you.
She did not purchase it. I got it through the GC. So I did, the GC, sends out these blind bids and
Yep.
projects and stuff. Says, we have signage in our package, bid it. I don't bid them very often. It was a contractor that we've done work with in the past, though, and I always look at the document first before I say no or yes.
Mm-hmm.
And there were 2 large illuminated monuments in it. I said, you know what, this one's big enough that because a lot of times it's just your typical ADA signage,
Yeah.
evacuation, exit signs and stuff that they're going to buy from Home Depot in the end anyway. But this had specific monuments, not a lot of detail, but I put it through our estimating. I sent out that. It was a blind bid and a proposal to a random person at this contracting firm about 1.5 years ago, maybe a year ago, early 2023. And back last year in October, I get an email out of the blue. It says, we got approval. Here's your signed contract on something I never even got a response on. I'm like, holy shit. Okay.
Now let's stop here. You more than outsold the highest sales rep here at Integrated Signs, more than double. And yet you took the time to do a blind bid. Why?
I liked the contractor.
Okay.
We had worked with them a couple of times, and it was a big enough project that it was worth my time to put the effort into it.
Okay.
As well as you never know what you're going to get. So I still like to look at the documents, and I like to just put myself out there because you never know when it's going to come back at you.
No. And so then this morning you had a conversation with her.
Yes. So this lady,
What's her first initial?
S.
All right, Mrs. S.
So I got the contract from the contractor.
Mm-hmm.
We're going through the process. We're going through the design phase because it was a very basic drawing that I bid off of. We're going through the design phase. And the contractor wasn't communicating to me what the owner wanted.
Okay.
So they finally put me in contact with the owner, who is Mrs. S. And we get on the phone And we hit it off. She's a very sweet lady. We get along great. She goes, I really just, I wanted these colors and I wanted this logo. That hasn't been communicated to you. So I updated my design, gave her what she wanted. She loves it. So she's on cloud 9. And this morning she reaches out. She goes, I have another project in Chula Vista, which is south of San Diego. And the contractor gave me a bid. But now that I've met you, I want to see what you can do. I said, okay. So she sent me over the design that she was working with. And it's a 15-foot tall illuminated monument sign. And I kind of gave her a ROM budget price over the phone. And she goes, well, that is less than the budget number I was given. So send me a proposal for that and I'll get it approved. She goes, and if you get this, it's a whole campus of wayfinding signs, directional signs, interior signs, address signs, like other monuments throughout the complex. It's a massive project. Those were just 2 signs in mini.
That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome.
Even if I underbid it, I don't care. I just want...
Yeah, get in your foot in the door. Exactly. I don't care if it's a lost lead or the rest of the work will pay for it.
100%.
So I can say that we have set a precedence that you know what you're doing in sales.
At least bullshit well.
You bullshit well. My numbers speak for themselves over all the years that I know what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. So we've been asked.
And I learned from you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So we got to put some SOPs together.
Yes.
So I want to go back and talk about
the basics.
I want to talk about the basics using an example.
Okay.
So we have his initials MG, and he had a new bank in Florida that he had us bid on. And the original bank, not FF Bank.
Yeah.
And he goes, hey, we got a bank, but it's in Florida. So it's on the other side of the nation. So we got a couple other sign vendors are bidding this, which is not normally his MO. But he goes, hey, I need to bid it because it's in Florida. We need to see what's going on.
Well, the bank that he went and worked for had their own sign vendor already. And they didn't want to take his. They wanted to keep their own because they liked their own. And it was a local.
Yeah, it was a local company. And they were name changing. It was an acquisition. So it's 19, 14?
Yeah,
19 banks over there in Florida. And he goes, hey, you're the low man on the totem pole. I'm not going to lie. As long as they don't screw it up, we got to go with them. But I want to give you a shot and take care of it. Mm-hmm. So this is a perfect example of how you and I attack a client. And we're very similar. And please, as I'm talking, point out what we change here.
Sure.
But number one is to figure out what their basic needs are, and to figure out what they're really trying to do through all the fluff. If you guys think that putting a sign on the wall is what they're after, you have completely missed the mark.
Right. You
have no clue what you're doing. I'm going to tell you that one right now. So if you want to take offense, please do, because you don't know what you're doing. The first thing is we need to figure out if that client even likes us.
Sure.
This is an important step for us. We could skip over the step because this client's been working with us for 18 years, but it's a very important step on why he works with us for 18 years. Mm-hmm. Your client has to like you.
Yes.
If they don't like you, they're never going to buy from you.
Well, Mrs. S is a perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't know me before 2 weeks ago, and I got on the phone with her. I listened to her needs. I listened to her wants and even complaints of previous experiences with other people. I did not pigeonhole her down to where I thought she needed to go. I took her wants and desires and I made it relatable, and I changed my tone of voice to match hers. I did everything to make her feel comfortable with me. I didn't inflate myself. I didn't browbeat her. She's a very soft-spoken individual, and I made her feel listened to, somebody that was going to take what she wanted and put it together and deliver what she was asking me to deliver. And because we've done that for 18 years for our gentleman bank friend, we've been his sign vendor for 7 or 8 different bank changeouts now.
Okay, so there's a lot of information that just got told to you guys. So let me break this down for you, because you're probably going to look at that and go, that's simple, that's easy. No, that's not simple and easy. So let's talk. Number one, she changed her tone to match. If you got a person that's very excited and super pumped, you go, well, I think I can do it. They're never going to buy from you because they have lots of energy and you sound like you're about to go to sleep. So you got to match the tone. Number two, listen. Now, for us podcast listeners out there listening, you probably got this one figured out because you're listening to us right now trying to better yourself. So bravo to you. But you have to listen to your client. If you're waiting to talk, game over. You're done. You have to listen to what they have to say. And in those little tidbits of information, you're going to find good information. Well, I really didn't like it over here because it had this blue color in it. I'm really looking for something that pops. Well, blue pops. A second question would be, what hue of blue was it that you didn't like? Was it a faded gray blue? So it looks dirty on day one. What type of blue is it? But if you're not listening, you're not going to find that information out. Listen to her complaints. That's really simple. She's telling you what not to do to land this account.
Right.
That's all you have to do.
Simple.
Listen to what she doesn't like and don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds really basic, and yet I cannot tell you how many people go into it with a one-track mind. Most sales reps that I meet that are not cutting it or barely cutting it have a set agenda before they show up. And regardless of who the customer is, person X on the other side, they're going to have the same talk track no matter what.
You have to be able to adjust your talk track.
Yeah.
You have to fit your person that you're talking to. If you don't, they're going to glaze over and they're not going to hear anything that you say.
I want you guys to picture a rubber band. What's its job? To keep something together, right? What if that something is 1 inch round? The rubber band's going to hold it. What if it's 2 inches round? The rubber band's going to hold it. If it's 5 inches round, the rubber band is going to hold it. Why? Because it's flexible. It's still doing its job. I'm not saying you go off the Richter scale here and go do something different. It's still doing its job, but it's flexible. Mm-hmm. In sales, you have to be a rubber band. You have to be able to listen what the client needs and then match what the client needs. It's really that simple. So that's all part of step one, getting the client to like you.
Yep.
Now, there's more that goes to getting to like it. And really, the first one is the most important, because if you do the first one right, the other 3 steps really aren't that important.
Mm-hmm.
So in our SOPs for us, for integrated signs, I will say that make sure that client likes you and get to know that client on a personal level. What do they like? What's going on? If you just take notes and you become an order taker, then you got nothing. You're done.
There's no rapport or relationship there, and they'll forget your name when they go to sleep.
Yep, exactly. But if they have a vested interest in it. So one of the things I like to do, and this is one of my sales tactics, is since I have an accounting background, I want to work with my assets. I'm going to work with my strengths. Mm-hmm. I know that buying a sign is an investment. There should be an ROI, return on investment. Mm-hmm. So at that point in time, how much ROI are they going to get? If they have no walking traffic into their building, everybody is working with them via the internet, then that sign is only for the employees for morale and for the ego of the owner. That's it.
Right.
Nobody's walking into the building. Mm-hmm. So maybe we don't need all the razzmatazz of that sign. Now, if they have a bunch of people walking in off the street, like a 7-Eleven, that sign better have a lot of pop and grab their attention. Right. So you need to understand the business of what type of business they are that they need the sign for. Mm-hmm. And then, push them accordingly. I can't tell you how many times that I do a distribution center and I ask them, are you open past 5 p.m.? And they go, no. You might want to save some money on your marketing budget and not have an illuminated sign. Save $3, $4, $5 grand, and you can spend that marketing other places. Mm-hmm. Instantly, they love me. Right. I'm protecting their bottom line. They're going to look good to their boss, or I'm protecting their pocketbook if they are the boss. One more step to getting better.
And they feel that you know what you're talking about.
Yes.
I have found for me, the biggest attribute that gets me my sales is I am a problem solver. I don't like to take a scenario and give it back to the client to solve. So they give me all of their problems. They get to vent to me. They get to let it off their chest. And then I just tell them, I will handle this for you. I will fix your problems. I will do whatever you need to do and take it off of their plate. Now they feel a lot less stress and they feel relief that there is somebody who has heard them and is going to help them.
So I'm going to give you a scenario and you tell me why this is wrong.
Okay.
Going right off your thought process here. If they come out and they say, okay, I want to sign on this wall, and they say, okay, no problem. You can do a non-illuminated sign. You can do a red sign. You can do raceways. You can do non-raceways.
If given them way too much information.
We're already, huh?
Yeah. They're going to be lost and confused right now.
Yep. Are you a problem solver then?
No. They're a problem finder, and you've given them a lot of muddled information without even explaining what those things were.
Perfect. I was hoping you'd say that. Exactly what I was hoping you would say. Because so many sales reps do that, and they're so proud of themselves when they leave. The sales rep's so proud. They're like, look, I gave them all these options. They're going to know what they want. I educated them.
You just dumped a shit ton of information on them and left them there to deal with it.
Yeah. Now they're the decision maker.
Yeah.
They have no direction.
No.
You didn't help them at all.
No. I like to maybe dissect each one of those avenues if it's going to be a long sales call or whatever, and then say, okay, for parameter purposes, a non-illuminated set of letters, 1/2-inch thick acrylic painted, easy peasy, $2,500. A lot of the times these one-offs are so budget conscious that when you give them, a $5,000 price tag for a set of illuminated channel letters, they freak out. They're like, a sign costs how much? Well, then I pare it back and I work within their budget and I say, okay, well, this will get you this will get you that. And I work within their budget. I try to.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if it's a big corporation, the budget's the last of their concerns. They want to make sure that you understand their branding and their marketing and, getting their name across. So you have to understand who you're talking to. Mrs. S, for example, today, I don't even know how big her company is, but it's a property development company. I can only imagine that they're pretty good size. I know the project over here down the street's a 300,000 square foot building.
It's a monster. It is a monster.
Massive. It takes up a whole block when you drive by it. Oh, I also learned today, it's county property. It's county owned. So they own the building, but it is
lease from the county.
Long lease from the county.
I wonder if they got any kickbacks to build there because it's been dirt for so long too.
Maybe.
I bet you some tax incentives along with that.
Probably. Anyway, just side note. But I found that out because I had a frank, open conversation with this woman. And of course, then she knew that I knew what I was talking about and that I understood her. Another key thing is responsiveness. I don't let my customers go a day without a response. Even if I don't physically do something, they got a response from me. If they don't hear back from me, they don't know if I got it or not. And if it takes more than 24 hours to get a response from me, I have failed. And they no longer have confidence in me.
So my knee-jerk statement that I created up myself years ago was keep them in the know.
Yes.
Make sure they know what's going on. Make sure they know what's expected of them. Make sure what's expected of us over to them. Because if you don't say, we will get drawings and a price back to you in about 8 business days. On day 2, they're going to call and say, hey, where's my stuff? And you're like, no, we're 8 days out. But if you leave them in the lurch for 8 days and don't explain what's the next step, they're going to think you forgot about them. They're going to catch cold water. And we all know as a sales rep, strike when the iron's hot.
Right.
If that iron after 8 days is not hot anymore.
Right. Well, it's kind of like today. She asked me for a ROM budget price. I talked to her on the phone. I gave her a ROM budget number and I asked her point blankly if she had another, if she had a budget she wanted me to meet, because I didn't want her to sell her something. I could, explain to her that we could build it out of something else and we could give it the same look and feel she was after without being the actual material, because she wanted a really expensive type of material. And the budget number she gave me that the contractor gave her was, to me, astronomical.
Yeah.
And I said, oh my gosh, no, I can do better than that. She goes, okay, that's what I thought. Perfect. Please do it. And it got me, like I said, even if I don't make a lot of money on this first one, I will get in with her and she will bring me so much more work just off the simple fact that I answer the phone, the email, and I did what I told her I was going to do. And if my customers have to follow up with me, then I always feel bad because I have made them wait too long. If they send me an email and say, where are we at with this? I know that I have failed in some form or fashion. And then I make an effort to handhold them a little bit more. On clients that I've had for a long period of time, they know me, I know them, I know how they work, they know how I work, and there's no question. But on these new ones, there's a lot of handholding. I want them to feel like they are my top priority no matter what, but I want every single customer to feel the exact same.
Oh, it's genius. It's absolutely genius. If they think they're the only customer, then they're getting a lot number one support, then they're super happy.
Yeah.
I also think that a lot of that hand-holding is also client training.
Sure.
Because if you do it in a subtle way, okay, we're going to meet in 8 days, we're going to send you stuff. As soon as you sign off on that, then we'll get land approval, then we'll get permits, and then we'll start, and then we're 4 to 6 weeks out for build. Now they know at best 3 months before they get their sign.
Yep.
You're so confident and comfortable in saying that. You're not like, well, it's 4 weeks. And,
the confidence thing that kills me. I've seen some people, I hear on the phone or even see them. They're like, well, I'm not really sure. I'm like, oh, you've lost it right there.
Yeah.
You're not, even if you're not sure about what you're saying, you're coming across as somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about. Why is this person going to pay you and trust you with their logo and their brand?
Right now, tell me in a confident voice that you don't know something.
Tell you in a confident voice that I don't know something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know the exact answer to that right now. So I'm going to go research it and I will get you an answer in the next day or two.
Perfect. There's no he and han.
No.
There's still a confidence in your voice, which is a little bit of a bass in your voice.
Mm-hmm.
And you told them what's going to happen and what's the next steps.
Yes.
That's a perfect response. No, at one point in time, am I ever going to tell you, listeners, lie?
No, because then they're going to call you on it. Or when you do lie, and it will always bite you in your ass. Now you look worse than you would have in the beginning.
I'm never going to lie. I'm always going to tell the truth. And the truth is, I don't know. But it's okay. Just don't say, I don't know. No. Let me get back to you. You've lost confidence because they see you yourself have lost confidence as a sales rep. So why should the customer trust you when you don't even trust yourself?
Right.
That's subliminal 101.
And in a lot of circumstances, I like to, what is it? Under promise and over deliver. So if they say, what's the lead time? I'll tell them 10 to 12 weeks, knowing full well I can get it done in half that time.
Yep.
But if I tell them half that time and something happens in our shop and I miss that mark, then I'm the dick.
Yep.
So I don't want to be that, nor do I want them to be mad at me when then they think I've lied to them.
So the first time I ever got introduced to that was with Ethan Allen. I went and bought a piece of furniture at Ethan Allen when I was 22 years old, spending way out of my budget. I should have been in IKEA, but me had to have the best. So I went to Ethan Allen. They said, cool. And it was a $300 dresser. And they said it'll be ready in 16 weeks. And I went, what? And they're like, 16 weeks. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Come on. Moving to my new house in a couple weeks. They're like, sorry, 16 weeks. 3.5 weeks later, I got a phone call. This is Ethan Allen. We'll be there next Wednesday. I'm like, wow, I got it early. Can you do Thursday? I won't be here Wednesday. Our next delivery is in 2 weeks. Nope, I'll be there Wednesday.
Yeah.
They had me suckered from day one. And, I thought I had to wait. Then all of a sudden I got all my stuff in time. And they said, you're going to be at your house at this time. And I was like, yep, I'll be there at this time. They had it down to a science. But when it was all said and done, who was happy? Me. Because I got it way earlier than I thought I did. So I was pumped.
I got another phone call today. It's a small service call. But he called me the other day and I said, well, I'm 2 weeks out. He goes, okay, I'm going to call somebody else. Well, he called somebody else and they weren't going to be any faster. So he had to call me back today. He goes, okay, nobody else can do it faster than you. Can you still do it in 2 weeks? I said, yep. And I will get it done sooner than that. But I'm not going to shorten my own leash.
Yes.
By giving them these crazy parameters that they don't need or even want or expect. If you can prioritize your clients in such a way where not everything's a rush, then when you do have the rush ones, you can move them around. Because some of those do happen. They call me up and they're like, I messed up. I'm so sorry. I'm opening in 4 weeks. What can you do for me? Well, I know that I have these other clients that, yes, got there first, but I can move them around and their expectations are still met. So I still meet their expectations, but I can push those projects around a little bit so I can get the rush in. Now I have met client A's expectations of getting a rush done in 4 weeks. He is happy. I'm happy. And the other client that I pushed back 2 weeks, none the wiser. They're still happy because their expectations are also met. So these sales reps who come in here and they're like, everything's a rush. It needs to be done right away. I told them 6 weeks. I'm like, well, you messed up.
Yeah.
Right then and there.
Yep. And if it was 6 weeks, you should announce it to the company on day one.
Correct.
I made an agreement for 6 weeks. This is the deal I made. I need a lot of help to get this through, else we would have lost the project, maybe the account, who knows? You had to be really vocal with that.
And if every single project you have is like that, even if you communicate it, the rest of the company's not going to give a damn after a while. The project managers, everybody's not going to be wanting to help you because the sky is falling. It's the Chicken Little syndrome is what I call it.
Oh,
the
100%.
sky is falling every single day.
I want to take a moment to talk about true champions that are helping the industry out, and that's Wendy Graves. You guys have all known her for Women in Sign. She's been pushing that for quite some time, but she's also made a new alliance to help the industry out, and that's with Make It Happen Signage Academy here. I don't want to get this wrong here, so I'm going to read right from this, www.signage-academy/MIH-glance. That's the information. We're going to go ahead and put it at the bottom of the show notes here and on this clip, so you guys can click on it. She's going to be working with the Make It Happen Signage Academy for the Illuminated Signage Bootcamp, what's on the front lines, teaching project managers, sales, and everything in between. So definitely sign up for those things. Wendy's been doing some great work, so you definitely want to support her, and you're going to learn a lot.
You know, it's funny, in the sales for Square Coil, we'll get people that'll ask the most crazy questions. I had one lady, this was years ago, she goes, if I just talk out loud in my computer, will Square Coil fill in all the blanks for me? And instead of going no and bringing her hopes down, I asked, oh, do you have that feature now? She's like, no. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. We can't add that to your portfolio yet.
No, I use pen and paper now, but I want to be able to talk to text to Square Coil.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me and explain how you would handle from start to finish. I'm a brand new customer. I just sent you an email. You were either referred to me or, you know, I Googled it. Sign companies in San Diego and integrated signs came up. I would like a sign on my new building. So I've sent out an email. I need the steps of how you handle it.
So I'm going to tell you right now, I'm glued to it during the day. 7 to 4, I'm on the way. I got a text from Casey. The garage door just opened and somebody was on the road, and I have emails right here, and I have 3 emails here in 8. I'm on this every 15 minutes. For the exact reason somebody's going to email me. So as soon as I see that email, I look at it. So right here, we have Carol over at Skyline, and she wants a quote. I'm going to click on it. It says, oh, I didn't send a logo in my previous email. Here's my email. Can you get a quote for this? I'm going to text her back right now and say, I did receive your email. I'm in a meeting right now. We'll respond to you later today. Thank you so much. Send. She knows I got it. That's the first thing. That was step number 1 that no one does.
So respond right away.
Immediately. If you let an email go with inside of 4 hours and it's a sale, you have screwed up. You have.
Now, if it's a cold lead, like through our SEO, do you pick up the phone or do you email them?
Oh, pick up the phone. I want that conversation. I want to hear the tone. I want to hear how they talk. I want to see what's going on. I want to hear all of that. Because in an email, I don't get inflection. I don't get the tone of the voice.
Right.
Somebody's like, hi, how you doing? What's going on? I'm super excited. Or they go, yep, I sent it. Got any questions? That second person with that tone, I won't even quote it.
Sure.
You got 20 people calling you. You blasted it out to the world. The world's coming back to you. No matter how good of a salesman I am, I'm going to be a number in a stack. I can't differentiate myself. I'm not going to spend my energy there if I don't have any energy. Now, if I'm slow and I have energy, I'm going to do the best I can. But if not, I'm going to walk away. So I need to hear their energy. How excited are they about the project? Because I'm going to share in their excitement. Oh, it's going to be pollution. Man, you know how many people are going to see it. Hold on. Let me get on Google Maps. So when you get that SEO call and I see it, I'm going to call. I'm going to go, how you doing? My name's Aaron. You know, we're with Integrated Signs here. Tell me about your project. Who doesn't like to talk?
Right.
Especially about something that's about what's theirs.
Well, and they're excited because they get to put their name on something.
Yeah. So just be quiet and listen. You know, if you shove them, Integrated Signs been around for 41 years, we do blah, 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 blah. They're going to be like, great, don't care. And, you know, and you're going to already have bad marks against your name.
I only go into it, that kind of an explanation when the customer is very well versed in signage and they have done many signs with many sign companies. Because by then they have kind of some doubt and they've probably been burned a few times.
Sure.
And then that's also when they're venting. So then I give them the backstory of our company, which just bolsters the credibility and confidence in me.
So I sprinkle it in. Your way's fine. I have no complaints over that. For me, I'll be talking about that. I go, that's cool. I'm like, great. I'm like, the aluminum signs. I'm like, are you a San Diego native? Like, yeah. I'm like, do you see the majorette there in Lemon Grove? Like, yeah. I'm like, you know, we built that in 84.
Yeah.
Well, pretty cool, huh?
Okay.
They can do the math. They've been around forever.
Right.
You know, and I just keep sprinkling it in. I'm like, oh, yep, definitely seen that before. Beautiful layout. I got a little bit of a better project, but I know what you're talking about. And I just keep sprinkling in my experience as I'm going through that. So I don't get the monologuing of the blah, 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 blah. So that's how I do it. But then I ask them other project and I say, okay, well, can you give me the address? Let me pull up on Google Maps while we're talking. Man, talk about a game changer, Google Maps.
Right.
I can see the whole building, who sees it, what's going on right on the spot. I don't have to drive out there. I mean, before it was can you be there Thursday at 10 a.m.? You know, I had to drive out there and see it. So I look at the building and I want to see how many eyes can see that sign. How many people are driving by? How many people are walking by? And I say, okay, That's a very busy street. I'm going to guess 300 cars an hour, times that by a day. You're getting, tens of thousands of cars per day, times 365 days. This is your best employee, the sign. You kidding me? This is going to be, the ROI is going to be huge on the sign. You need to spend a lot of money on this. This is going to be your best source of advertising. If I see they're tucked back in the corner, I might go, I wouldn't spend money on an illuminated sign. I'd probably do something small. Not many people are going to see this. You're not going to get the bang for the buck.
So tell me about that. What are the things that a sign does for you? When you are explaining, when you're selling yourself to a new customer and you explain the importance of a sign.
So what I've made up is the four items. A sign only does 4 things, in my opinion. Number 1, it advertises. People see it and they go, oh, Home Depot. Oh, there's a Home Depot there. It's advertising. Number 2, it is a direction finder. No, it's a location finder. I'm sorry. Number 2, it's a location finder. I'm driving in my car. Where's the building? Number 3, a sign is a direction finder. And I have a funny story about this. It's a direction finder. I'm out of my car. Where is the front door? Okay. And then number 4, it sets the mood for the client. And the mood is the colors, the font, the size, everything. If you ever shopped at a Mac Studio, you know how tiny those letters are? Gigantic fascia, little tiny sizes. MacStudio.com. Tiny, super tiny. Because they're so understated, because they go, I'm so high end, I don't need to advertise. And that's a gimmick. That is what they do on purpose. We're so high end, you should know us by now. Right. And that is a marketing ploy that they put out. So everything kind of falls into number 4 for the setting the mood. Now, my funny story for number 3, direction finder. We ate at a restaurant in Michigan, and the back of the building had freeway visibility. And so they wanted the sign on the back of the building. And I said, center on the building because it looks like you own the whole building. And they said, nope, we want to right justify it because more of the freeway sees it. I said, it looks like you're a tenant in the building, not the other way around. But I understand your theory. You tell me. And they said, nope, we're doing it on the right-hand side. Little did we know that there was a chef's back door on the right-hand side of the bottom of the building, right below where the sign was right justified on the building.
Oh, man.
They said 10 to 12 patrons a night would park in the back of the building, try and walk into the kitchen because they thought that was the front door. Because the sign is also a direction finder of where's the front door. I'm out of my car. They never did have me move it. This is the main sign, but they did have me say entrance around the back. This is not a public entrance. Wow. I had to put a little sign on the door. Sure. So it is very funny. But yes, those are the 4 things a sign does.
Okay. And then so along with those 4 things, what are the 4 things that when you're selling a sign, that you sell to the customer?
Number 1 is sell yourself. Hands down. We beat that horse pretty good on this podcast. If you guys have been listening, take a little finger, bring it all the way back to the beginning and start again. Because we've talked about how to sell yourself so they like you. They have to like you if they want to buy from you. Number 2, sell the company. What differentiates your company from somebody else? Are you lightning quick? I can get you a sign in 4 hours. Are you quality and takes us a long time, but our sign will stand the test of time, past 15 years? That's our claim to fame.
Sure.
I can't even count how many signs on Rodeo Drive came from integrated signs. I swear half that street came from us.
Right.
But that's because everyone said, you want a quality sign that's going to look like you are luxury. You want to use a company that does quality. So that's where we came from. So it's always sell the company. What makes you differentiate yourself from everybody else? If you're just a Joe Schmo sign company and there's nothing special about you, find something special about you and make that part of your culture. Right. You have to. Yeah. If you're no different from anybody else, you're going to get stuck in the last 2.
All right.
The last one, the second to the last one, sell yourself, sell the company, sell the product. Number 3, sell the product. This product is this type of aluminum. It has this type of LEDs. This is new technology. And this is why I like diffusing film, blah, blah, blah. But you're going to sell the product on why it's neat. Number 4, sell on the price. And pretty much if you're selling on the price on number 4, you've already screwed up.
Sure.
I'm going to tell you that right now.
Right.
If somebody is on the phone and they call up and, how you doing? Yep, just send a quote over. That's all I need.
Yeah.
They've burned through 1, 2, and 3, and they're just sticking me in category 4. Right. I'm not going to waste my time on you. Yeah. I would rather go call a designer that I used to work with I haven't heard from. I'd rather go call a property manager, say, is there any signage I can work on with you? I'd rather cultivate a relationship where somebody already likes me than somebody that's just looking for a price. That's not a good use of my time as a sales rep.
Nope. So the other day, I took you with me to that sales call in La Jolla.
Yes.
We were referred to this person, and he, coincidentally, we didn't even do any work for the person who referred us. I think we either lost the bid due to price. We got underbid by half, and we were pretty cheap for what the scope was, in my opinion.
Yep.
If that person really did that much work for half, they lost their ass. But secondly, or the project, I think, got put on hold. But nonetheless, for a company to refer us when they had not yet used us was, to me,
that's high marks.
A great praise. And then when we went and met with this person, he informed us essentially their other sign company was pissing him off, and he was just kind of gently looking at other options, that he had it covered, but he literally just wanted a price to see where I would fall. It was a waste of my time. You thought so. I thought so. But I did it because, to go back to before, you never know where it's going to lead.
And I'm glad you did. And I would have done the same thing. Right. On that call, we both said, he's not going to buy this, but at least we can show our responsiveness.
Yes.
We can show our quality in our presentation. We can show what we're doing. We're going to raise the standard on him, whether he likes it or not.
And he had met us in person, and we did a lot of explaining in person.
Yeah.
And I did so in email too. I sent some pictures of examples of things that we did. And so I did my due diligence. I sent him over a proposal. It was a very, to me, basic thing. And he approved the cost yesterday. He's like, I'm so glad you sent this over. This is approved. Please move forward. We'd like to get the name up. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I love it.
That surprised me.
I love it. I love it.
I don't know if I was cheaper than the other company, but I at least did what I told him I was going to do within a timely fashion.
How much are buildings these days? Millions, tens, hundreds of millions of dollars. We come in with a $13,000 sign. They don't care.
No.
It's a blip on the radar.
Yes.
It's not important, but we are the hood ornament.
Right.
You think Rolls Royce would be as cool if it didn't have that awesome person logo statue with the wings? No. That's what makes the car so cool. Even in the modern day days where people are breaking them off, what do Rolls Royce do? We're going to make it go under the hood and keep it. And then when you turn the car on, it's going to come back up so you can see it. Because that's our hood ornament, literally. That's what it's there for. Signage is the same thing. It makes it beautiful. Right. You put a room together. Ironically, the throw pillows can kill or make a room. As sad as that sounds.
Right.
Tens of thousands of dollars on all this furniture, and a $30 throw pillow is going to screw it all up. But it's true. Signage is the same way. So I really don't think anybody that's cutting their pennies on signage is really thinking this through. Great ROI. Great, beautiful piece. It's the cherry on top of a great sundae. That is right where we want it. So, but going back to the SOPs of integrated signs, keep them in the know. Make sure you meet or exceed keeping them in the know. If you tell them 8 days, 6 or 7 would be better. Yeah. 8's a minimum. That's the longest you can go.
Yeah.
And then just keep them to speed. And follow inside of SquareCo, we have that customer progress report, and you can grab the client's name, and it'll tell them it's in permits, it's in here, with all their projects. Download to Excel, copy an email, and say, hey, I just want to send you a weekly progress report. Send. Took you 30 seconds, and that client loves you. You kept them in the know. Super simple. How hard is this as a sales rep? They're going to come back to you.
Another thing that I just thought of is taking the initiative. So
I'm listening.
In this example, the customer wants a sign on their, a price for their sign on the wall. They have not sent us their logo yet. They're like AI file for their logo.
Okay, got it.
But taking the initiative, and this also goes back to my problem solving situation, they are probably drowning and trying to open up a business. You're trying to do the same thing with a building. You have a million things. So for you, for example, if you didn't know me and you wanted a sign for your square coil building, and you reached out to me and I was responsive and you wanted a quote from me, but I put it back on you to provide me information. You're like, yeah, I'll get to it. And then I kept following up. Where's this information? I need this information. You're like, yeah, shit, I'll get to it. If I had, in the other case, take, the initiative, got on your website, just found your JPEG of your square coil, even if it wasn't how you really wanted it to look, I at least took the initiative. I did a simple 1-page presentation. I Google mapped your address and I put the sign on the wall. I said, here you go. Here's something like this that we could do for you. And here's the price tag to go along with it. I now have taken it off of your plate. I've given you an example of what we could do and a proposal that you were looking for. Now you have a parameter of what you could get for a certain price point. without giving you any kind of problem or more items.
And I love that because the majority of the people on this planet are visual learners.
Mm-hmm.
They need to see a pretty picture. So they see the pretty picture and they go, oh, okay, I don't want the box, but I like the letters.
Yes.
Let's make it a little bit bigger. Oh, this is great. I know I owe you a logo, so do you need the logo for or production? You got it.
Yeah, I only need the logo when I go to make it, but I can get the sold contract.
And now you have moved me forward. You have done that. The chance of you making this sale just went up tenfold.
Right.
Like easy. You're more than likely that's a 99% win right off there, just taking something off their plate.
Yes. Just taking the initiative. Or, going back to the beginning, I've heard their problems.
Yeah. Now
let me give them the solutions in other bigger picture avenues of how to get that problem solved, or even areas that they didn't even think about.
Now, what I do like about that approach is, and this is very unique to our industry, the signage industry, most of the time we're dealing with the upper brass.
Right.
We're dealing with the owner. We're dealing with top management. We're dealing with the marketing director. Their name and what it looks like on the side of the building is very important. They're not going to give it to the front clerk that's been there for a week and say, hey, get our name on the building.
Right.
They have a vested interest in this and what it looks like and the marketing value on it. So who we talk to are the movers and shakers of the world. Very awesome. Love that. Love to rub elbows with those people. At the same time, they're insanely busy. So your scenario probably happens hourly in our industry.
Right.
If not more.
And that's what has, I think, set me apart so much more is they have reached out with something very simple. And then I have taken it a step further and given them more not options, but like ideas or like taking them down the path of, or sent pictures of what they could have. And they're like, oh my God, that's beautiful. I love that. Without giving them something else to do. The last thing I want to do is give them something else to do.
If they have no idea, I will say this, and we all stole this from Pinterest. Pinterest is the one that actually kind of cloned this area, but it's a good idea and I love it. If they know nothing, go, I need a sign. What do you like? I have not a clue. Would you have a budget? No. So if I say $100,000, like, okay, a little high. Say $50,000. Well, how cool is it? Okay. 20 grand. Seems pretty cheap to me. Okay. Now I kind of feel a budget, a range, what's going on here. All right. Now I'm going to start going and finding pictures off the internet and say, which one of these do you like? Which one are ugly? I just need a yes, no on all these 3 pictures. That's it. And they go, yes, no, yes. And I go, cool. Now I kind of have an idea of what they, like and don't like. But again, very simple. Remember my email was yes, no, it's all I need.
Yes.
YNN, YYN. That's all they're doing. Not, please look at all 3 of these images and tell me what you like and don't like about each one. They're like, I don't know. Right. Now you put that onus back on them. You're not a problem solver anymore. Yeah.
Take the onus off of them. Yeah. And take responsibility for it and solve their problem for them.
Yeah. When I ask questions, I expect their answer to be less than a minute. It should take them less than a minute to answer. Because I know busy people, they're going to answer the ones that are simple fast. Just get it off their plate. And the heavier ones are going to do those next morning or when they have time, which might be weeks or months, because they keep looking at it and going, that's going to take me time. Let me pound out the other little stuff.
Yep. I'll get to it. And then they never do.
Yeah, they never do.
Or, you send a proposal. So now we're going to keep going down the path. So they've contacted you. They like you as a person. They want a quote from you. Do you do a design first or do you do a proposal first?
I always do a design because the pretty picture, because majority of people are visual learners.
But they want a quote in the next 3 days and your design takes 10 days to get your design.
Then I would find a picture on the internet and say, roughly it looks like this. You're looking at a ROM of around 18 or 20 grand. This is where we stand.
Okay.
Now they have enough information to arm themselves. They're going to go to their board, their committee, maybe their boss and say, this is where we're at. What do you want to do? Yes or no? At least they have enough ammunition to move forward. That's one of the things that I'll do. They're under tight time frame.
So for our SOPs, how many days or hours do we want to set that the client needs to have some kind of ammunition? 48 hours, 72, 4 days?
I'm going to say 5 to 7 days. I think that's very fair for what we provide because we're designing it. They're not doing that. And we're providing a price. So 5 to 7 days is very fair. If they need ROMs, then we break our tradition. Remember the rubber band?
Yeah.
We're flexible. We're still going to do what? Get them a rough idea of a picture and a price. We're not changing that. It just might be a picture off the internet and a ROM that's in an email, not on a hard proposal where there's a contract.
Right.
Because I don't want to be able to put them in a contract off of concept. But no, we're still doing what we need to get the job done. And of course, one of the last things that I do want to talk about on this podcast is reverse questions. This is not a one-sided relationship. We are not just saying, oh, look, here's some drawings. Oh, here's a sign. Can you please buy from us? No. When are you planning on making a decision? How do you plan on paying for this? Is this going to be wrapped up in your permits? Is this a TI budget? Are you paying out of pocket for this? Is this part of a business account? What's going on here? Now, people are like, you're asking them, how are they going to pay for it? It's kind of rude, right? You're asking me to jump through a whole bunch of hoops for free. I think I'm allowed to be entitled to this answer. You know, those are questions where now it's a symbiotic relationship.
Or they keep asking for slight revisions to a drawing without. So in some cases, I've sent both a drawing and a proposal, and I've done maybe a couple of revisions to this drawing. That doesn't really change the price. I just had one a couple weeks ago. She asked me for a slight revision, literally just changing this font to match this font over here. And I said, absolutely not a problem. That will not change the cost. So as soon as you sign the proposal and send it back, I'll update the drawing.
Perfect.
And she sent the proposal back.
Yep.
You don't have to continue to do small tweaks. No. That's not going to really change the cost. Or even if it is, they have to give you something when you're on that many revisions. I think by that point, though, you should know the client well, and there's a lot of backstory there.
Three revisions is what I'm at, and 3 minor revisions. One big one, 2 little minor revisions that they're going, scrap it all, start all over. No, I'm not a design firm. Right. I mean, I can be, but you're going to pay a pretty penny for that.
Right.
Because now you're taking me out of my bell-shaped curve.
So now you've sent the drawing, you've sent pricing. Do you let them sit there?
No.
Like what?
I call immediately.
Okay.
So I call within the first hour. I try and wait 5 to 10 minutes, but frankly, I will get squirreled in those 5 to 10 minutes. So now due to my workload, I call immediately. I hit send, I grab the phone and I say, yep, I just sent the drawings and the proposal. Can you please make sure it got sent? They go, yep, it's there. I said, cool. Would you like to go over it now or would you like to peruse at your own leisure? And almost 99% of the time, well, I'd like to peruse at my own leisure. Not a problem. I'll get back with you the next couple of days if I don't hear from you. Thank you so much for your time. Now, what did I do? I just put a clock on them.
Yeah.
They didn't know it, but I just got an internal clock of 72 hours that they're going to call back from me if I don't hear from them. Like, oh, I need to look at this right now. Now I've got them moving. If I just send an email and just
twiddle your little thumbs,
they're going to get to it when they feel like it because there's no pressure. I didn't put any pressure on them to close the deal. You know, and if they go, well, I'll get back to you. And then a week later, they're like, oh, I still got to get back to you. Now reverse psychology kicks in. And this is where you're going to go into college 2.0 here. I will not return their call immediately. I will wait a couple hours or I'll wait a day and then I'll call back and say, how are you doing? What have you found out? Well, what happened? I was very busy, sir. We had a client come in and they had a bunch of needs and they need to be met. But I'm here with you now, sir. How can I help you? You have my undivided attention. So the first one was kind of a slap.
Sure.
Not another customer. You're not important to me. But you're important to me right now.
Right. You weren't more important at that time, but you are now.
Yes. So I'm not going to trip over myself every single time. That's a part of that training that customer. There's a yin-yang relationship. I'm going to give you all this knowledge of 20 years of being in this industry and how cool your sign can be. Don't take me for granted.
Sure.
You know, I have other clients that can definitely use my expertise and I don't need to waste my time with you. So it is that yin-yang. Am I ever going to be rude to him? Oh, of course not. Utmost respect at all times. But there's little subconscious things that I'll play that game with.
I also like to do the reverse psychology of, well, this needs a permit and we're 3 months out, you know, with the permit situation right now with the city of San Diego. And then production wise, we're 8 to 10 weeks. So if you do the math backwards of when you want to open, we need an approval in the next week. If you have any chance of getting your sign on the wall by then. And they're like, oh my gosh.
Facts.
Or
those are just facts. They're helping them out.
Yeah. And I tell them, you know, you're 8 to 10 weeks for production, but you want to sign on the wall in 4 weeks. We don't have time to sit here and wait for this. So you put a little bit of pressure subliminally on them like that. And it really helps them make the decision. I obviously have loss accounts. It's not like I've gotten every single sale that I've ever done. Tell me about your loss accounts. Do you remember any that you did not? You worked really hard at making the sale and
It wasn't me personally, but it affected me greatly.
Okay.
2004, we had the Nike account. Integrated Signs did every sign in North America for Nike. And ironically, North American Signs was the other vendor. So pretty funny on that. We were never told it was an EFS wall at Shreveport, Louisiana. And we put the 4 letters up. And then then they had a hurricane. They had a hurricane come ripping through there. And one of the letters was a little wiggly.
So the installer did not tell us that it was an
Nope.
Nifus wall.
The survey did. They didn't know. Then they installed it funky. They didn't do through bolts. They screwed up the whole install. And the regional vice president called the owner of Integrated Signs at the time and said, fly down here and see this if you want our account. Whew. Thought that was a little over exaggerated, but whatever, fine. Flew down there and the owner met him. And the guy goes, that's installed wrong. Our owner, Steve at the time, looked at it and goes, yep, 100%. This is a Nifus wall system. We were never told by this. Was it on any of your architectural plan drawings you sent us? Nothing. But I know exactly how to fix that now that I'm aware of it. And he goes, to confirm, I'm going to put you on the phone with a sign company that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
What a dick.
You're right.
Now, I would have handled that differently. I'll call me a hothead. I don't care. I would have handed the phone back to him and said, I don't want your account. And I would have walked away.
Right.
Because let's not lie. It's not the best account. It's 4 letters.
Yeah.
I don't care about an account with 4 letters. I want International House of Pancakes.
Yeah.
I want 20 some letters. I don't want Nike.
Yeah.
But it's a status symbol, right?
Right.
So he gives the phone to Steve, who's another sign company. I don't know who this new sign company was. And the guy on the phone literally told Steve, yeah, I would have farmed that too. I had no idea it was Nifus wall system. We bid on that, but we lost it to you. And so Dad goes, 1 second. He puts him on speakerphone. He goes, yeah, Nifus wall system does this. And the guy changed his tune because he heard the speakerphone. Steve goes, say the first part again. He goes, no, I'm good. Thank you very much.
Oh,
he hands the phone back to him. And then the guy wrote I can't knock this part as much as I hated it. I can't knock this part. He wrote a letter, put it in the mail. Says, I'm sorry, but we are not using you as a vendor anymore. We do not reward bad installations. We do not reward bad installations.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, I thought that was very well written, well executed. I get it. We got fired. But the way he worded it was very apropos. I can't knock it. I thought it was a very well written letter for getting fired.
Mm-hmm.
I remember reading that, but it pissed me off to no end.
Mm-hmm.
So now I will say that I will never forget that.
Mm-hmm.
And I will always ask on the wall construction for an out-of-town project, especially a national account, what's the wall construction? What's the wall construction? What's the wall construction? Do you not know? You need to get a survey out there. You need to find out exactly. Find the GC who built it. Find the property management. What is that wall construction? And if the property managers don't know, then I always, because I hate property managers. I hate them with a passion. They suck as people. They show up and then like 4 weeks later they go, oh, I still have that email. I'm like, yeah, the rest of the world's still moving. So I always tell my client, your property manager has no idea how that building's constructed, but they're trying to lease it to you. You might want to rethink at this side center. Mm-hmm. So I kind of throw the PMs under the bus, the property managers, when I don't get the information, because they should know that. Mm-hmm. That's pretty basic. Mm-hmm. That's like, who's your water? Who's your electrical? What's the building made out of? Like, right. They should know these things. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, that wall construction, not the one I lost. That hurt.
I do think that as salespeople, we should learn from the ones that we lost. Why did we lose it? Go back and kind of audit our did not sells. And in Square Coil, you can pull a report for all the did not sells and go back and audit them. Why did I lose this? Put the notes in there. Mm-hmm. Was it just price? I mean, sometimes I've had a few customers that get what they want from me and then they ghost me.
Yeah.
And they've probably taken my design and gotten a cheaper quote from somewhere else. But I can't prevent that from happening.
I don't worry about those.
No.
If I keep doing the good things and being the good person, having the integrity and selling to them,
it'll come back.
It's going to come back to you.
Absolutely.
It's going to come back. Well, if you don't have a start date for the SOPs off of this podcast, I can't help you, because that was so much good information. That is decades worth of trial and error and experience that we just talked about. Mm-hmm. That is a lot. If you walked away going, yeah, that's simple.
It's not simple.
Well, then if it's simple, do it.
Right.
And you're going to be a rock star at your company. Mm-hmm. But if you truly hone this craft and listen to this podcast again and again, and take the notes down and truly train yourself to be like this, there is no stopping you. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, hands down, there is no stopping you. Well, thank you. Thank you for all of your knowledge on this one. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Most of it came from you anyway.
Well, hey, yay. Until next time. Thank you, guys.